We will overcome.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to keep this really short. I only had a few slides anyway, so it worked out well. Oh, okay. So the first thing, you know what, I'm going to kind of come over like this so I can see my slides as I'm talking about them. The first thing I wanted to say is when I refer to disabilities in my presentation, I'm going to use the word extra able or extra abilities. This is a word that I created simply because I think it's an empowering word. The term disabled, if you look it up in Webster's dictionary, it actually means to be made ineffective or invalid, which we are not that in any way, shape, or form. So extra abled is a person who is adapted to overcome physical, mental, or circumstantial limitations and therefore forge strength and greater abilities within themselves.
Yeah.
So the history of I'm from the United States of America. My name is Jennifer Adams, and the history of America is it's very positive in one way, in the sense that our forefathers who came from England were fighting for the opportunity to have a country that church and state were separate, and that every citizen had freedom to choose life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Unfortunately, with that, we also took the lives of many Native people that were living in America at the beginning of our history. They had been living there for thousands of years. And so I believe that even today we're still healing those injustices. And I believe that we are also living by the Constitution, that everyone would have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. From the beginning of our country's history, we did not have laws that protected the rights of people who are extra able. And, it went on for about 160 years or so, where there was really no access, kind of like what Paula was saying, that, the buildings weren't accessible, and, people who were extra able were really struggling to make a living for themselves. And so, in the 60s especially, in the 1960s, people started fighting for the rights of people that are extra able. They would go to the White House and Washington, D.C., and they would riot and they would fight for the rights of people that are extra able. In 1972, they had a breakthrough, and the Rehabilitation Act was born. And it just was very, very basic and covered some rights for education and employment for children and for adults that are extra able. In 1975, the IDEA Act was created, which protects specifically children in schools to make sure that they get access to public education. It was re-amended in 2004. And just like all of you have said in your presentations, I think that education is the root of changing a society to see people who are extra able as being extra able. And even despite everything that we have set up in the laws, there's a lack of accountability in the United States still to make sure that every child who is extra able is included in the mainstream classes. Some schools are great about that and some are not. And I myself have been in many schools and have seen children just separated. I've seen them in basements with no windows, and the rest of the school is up doing their thing, and they're down there in the basement. And this is in the US too. And so I have a passion for education and for inclusion in education. Because if you have mainstream children interacting with children that are extra able on a regular basis, then when they grow up and they become adults and they go out into the world, they're going to see people who are extra able as their friends, as their peers. But what exclusion does is it creates a mentality of people who are extra able are over there, and they're not really in our world, and so we don't get them. And that's, I think, really globally, with all of our countries, I would believe that that's probably the root of all of the issues of exclusion and lack of resources. And so, my passion, oh, okay, sorry. I got ahead of myself a little. Okay, so in 1991, after all of the, fighting for the rights of people that are extra able, the Americans with Disabilities Act was passed, which basically covers in, detail the rights of every person that's extra able in America in all facets of society. So that was a huge breakthrough. I met the man who passed this. His name is Lex Frieden. He is paralyzed from the neck down, and he himself met with President Bush in 1991 and had this passed. So, we have come a long way. I believe that, I know that I've become the person I am because I have had access to education and employment. I am now self-employed, and I'm grateful to be from a country that, provided me the resources to really blossom and become all that I am. But my passion is to break the glass ceiling. And I think that, I know that all of us in this room can do that.
Yeah.
Yes, and we will, and we are. Because what happens is, even with all these rights, and even with all the positive things that are happening in your country, in mine, there's still a glass ceiling. There's still a ceiling that says, if you're extra able, you can only go this far, you can only make this much money, because then you'll lose your medical. And so it really keeps people who are extra able in poverty because they're afraid to not have their wheelchair or have the medical needs that are necessary for their lives. So I think it's important to work with legislators and fight for the rights of people who are extra able to be able to make adequate livings and still receive the medical care that they need. And I believe that's the solution. And then we just need to go beyond all of that. Like, that's the way I look at it, is I don't care about the rules. Like, the rules that say I can only make this much money or I'll lose my medical, I'll figure it out. I've actually already lost medical on my chair, and I have figured it out. I've figured out a way to get the things I need, and that's how you break the glass ceiling, is you say, I'm gonna be gutsy, and I'm gonna break the rules, and I'm gonna believe that there's something amazing for me, and that's how you lead the charge to get other people and other extra able people to break those glass ceilings. And then that starts happening globally, and then there's an upgrade globally in, with extra able people.
Absolutely.
And that is my presentation.
Yeah.